Remember those good old days of terminals and mainframes? When computers were as large as my New York City apartment, and you sent them commands on large keyboards connected with telephone-like keyboard cords and ugly monitors sporting green on black text? Remember those days? Me neither. Because by the time I got into technology, we had personal computers. Smaller, cheaper, and more efficient machines which, thanks to advances in technology, brought the processing power of those large, closet-sized computers onto or next to your desk. And as years went by, we became really good at making these computers smaller and smaller, eventually connecting them together and configuring them to share information and processing power. Eventually, we created complex networks like this one, which connected these smaller computers via an international network called the Internet. This magical Internet was always represented by the symbol of a cloud. Thus began cloud computing, which at its core is something we've been doing in technology ever since those mainframe and terminal days, letting larger, stronger machines do all the hard work so our smaller, less powerful ones can focus on other things. Unlike those mainframe and terminal days, however, the technology has gotten better and cheaper, and thanks to the ubiquity of the internet, is available to a lot more folks, including small businesses and individuals. In other words, cloud computing could be called how I learned to stop worrying about buying super expensive equipment and love letting other companies do all the hard work for me. As an example of a really basic cloud service almost everyone has used, let's look at web email. You sign up for an email address from an online company such as Google, Yahoo, or Hotmail, and because the computers housing the email software, called servers, are attached to the internet, you can access them from any computer in the world with internet access and a web browser. You don't have to worry about upgrading the Google, Yahoo, or Hotmail computers when they go out of date. Nor do you have to worry about backing up all of your email in case a hard drive crashes. Nor do you have to write a software program that allows you to access everything. Rather, you go to a website, type in a username and password, do your thing, and log off. Let me repeat that. You don't have to worry about upgrading hardware, or where the hardware is located, or backing up your data, or securing it. You can just worry about checking your email. This is the power of cloud computing. Cloud computing comes in three major flavors: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. The example I just described, web email, is an example of software as a service. This means the software is served up from a pool of servers located somewhere in the world, and all you worry about is accessing that software via an interface such as a web browser. Most of the services you probably associate with cloud computing, such as Google Apps, Dropbox, Evernote, SkyDrive, and Prezi, are considered software as a service. Your computer isn't responsible for processing information from the software, just accessing the front end of it. Platform as a service is mostly geared towards developers and those who need to deploy software onto a specific platform. The Google App Engine, for example, allows developers to create their own programs that run on a Google-designed platform, test them, and then deploy them. It's a bit complicated to explain, but for developers, this streamlines their work considerably. Infrastructure as a service is usually for larger companies or those that want a lot more freedom in what types of software and services they need. Rather than log into a specific platform or accessing a piece of software, infrastructure providers like Amazon's Elastic Computing Cloud, or EC2, provide hardware and infrastructure for a company or individual to do with whatever they like. For instance, hosting that company's webpage, or hosting their internal Exchange or mail server. Since the cloud service pays all the hardware costs, the overhead is extremely low. And the cost is also based solely on use. So if a lot of people visit the site one month, you pay a lot. If no one visits, you pay a lot less. When the hardware goes out of date or breaks, Amazon deals with fixing it, not you. The examples I've mentioned all involved third-party services, and while it is possible for larger companies to create their own private or hybrid cloud solutions, all in all, cloud computing means centralizing and sometimes outsourcing your infrastructure, platforms, and/or software to another company so you can spend less time worrying about computers and more time focusing on your business and clients.